Hey everyone, it's Lisa from the blog farmhouseonboone.com, and today I want to show you how to make a sourdough pumpkin spice cobbler. Now I would love to thank today's video sponsor. This is Ethical Bean Coffee. Anytime we have a dessert or breakfast that's a little bit sweet, like any of my sourdough recipes or pancakes, Luke and I love to pair it with our favorite coffee. You all know that we love our coffee. During pregnancy, I drink a little bit less, but I definitely still enjoy it. We like to grind our beans fresh in a grinder and then make it in a French press. Now, I love that this brand is organic and fair trade. Even if you don't have access in your local grocery store to being able to make decisions for organic and fair trade, you can easily buy Ethical Bean Coffee on Amazon. Now, the reason that I think it's really important to buy organic coffee beans is they're grown without any harmful chemicals and pesticides. Coffee is one of those things that you don't really wash before you grind and put into a coffee maker or a French press. So it's really important to have your coffee be organic, especially if you're gonna be drinking it every single day. I also like that it's fair trade certified. This basically just means that all of the hands that went into producing the coffee and growing it and harvesting it are paid fair wages. I love being able to support farmers for the work that they do, especially growing a great organic coffee. Ethical Bean Coffee does have all different roasts available. So they have a medium, a dark, an extra dark, as well as ground and whole bean options. Each and every bag of Ethical Bean Coffee is traceable. You can use the code with the app or website to find out where the coffee was grown, when it was sourced, and roasted, which is kind of nice, especially if you like freshness. I also love that Ethical Bean Coffee uses sustainable growing practices. So make sure to head on over to Amazon. I'll leave the link in the description below, and you can check out all the details and order Ethical Bean Coffee. All right, let's dive into the recipe. So a few months ago, I shared a sourdough peach cobbler. This is kind of a spin on that. It's something I've been dreaming about and testing for a little while, and my kids and I agree that we have it just right. So just like with any sourdough recipe, I started by soaking my grains last night. I mixed up 2 cups of flour, a half a cup of sourdough starter, a third a cup of melted coconut oil, and a quarter of a cup of honey. And it's been sitting for about 24 hours. We're gonna revisit this here in a moment. But first we're gonna start mixing up the pumpkin mixture. So this is kind of like a pumpkin pie, but with the crust on top. I'm calling it a cobbler. It's really nothing I've ever seen quite like it, but it tastes so good. You can have it for a breakfast, maybe reduce the sugar by about half for breakfast, or have it full sugar, that's good too. Or dessert, if you make it in this way and then pair it with some ice cream. So I'm starting with 2 cups of pumpkin puree. You can use homemade or canned, either works. Okay, to that, I'm gonna add 3 eggs, and then I'm gonna add a half a cup of organic brown sugar. You could also use a coconut sugar or a rapadura to keep it a little bit healthier. A half a cup of milk, 4 tablespoons of coconut oil or butter, melted. All right, this is the ingredient that we all love for fall. 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice. What's with the smell of pumpkin spice? It just is magical. 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. If you used salted butter and the coconut oil part of this, you might want to omit this part, and then just give it a good stir. Right, now I'm gonna add this to a 12-inch cast iron skillet that's been properly seasoned. You could also just use a glass baking dish. If you use a 9x13, you might decrease the first part of the baking time just a touch, because it'll be spread out a little bit thinner, and so it'll cook a little bit more quickly. In my 12-inch cast iron skillet, it's pretty thick. And I'm just going to get this in a 350-degree oven for 25 minutes, and then we're gonna mix up the top portion. All right, to this dough that I ended up mixing up last night, going to add a teaspoon each of baking soda and baking powder, a quarter of a teaspoon of cinnamon, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a cup of heavy cream. And I'm just gonna mix this up really well. Now, you might have to use your hands to get into this. I know that I utilize that kitchen tool often, as long as they're nice and clean. I'm also gonna add an additional quarter cup of organic brown sugar, coconut sugar, or rapadura. This might be optional if you are serving this as a breakfast, but it really does taste good with that extra sweetness. This just came out of the oven and it's smelling delicious. Now we're gonna add the topping. So on a lightly floured work surface, I'm just gonna roll out my dough and then just use a little biscuit cutter or the top of a mason jar or whatever you got, and just cut you a little biscuit and kind of press it down in there. And I like to really press it down in there. All right, this is all done. It's smelling delicious and I cannot wait to dig in. Make sure to head to the link in the description below to check out Ethical Bean Coffee. It does not have to be hard to get organic, sustainably grown, fair trade coffee into your home. And I hope that you enjoy making this sourdough pumpkin spice cobbler. Thank you so much for watching. If you're brand new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I make 2 new videos every week on food from scratch, natural living, and a handmade home. Thank you so much for stopping by the farmhouse.